Hello, hello. Welcome to the Waiver Wire Show. And you got me solo, Erik Ong, and no Ethan tonight. Ethan's unavailable, so we're going to have to carry the scoring load uh, of the show by myself. But that's not a problem. What is a problem is I'm not 100% healthy. I'm still recovering from a bout with the flu, thankfully, COVID negative. So that's a partial win right there. Uh, but getting on with it this week, looking pretty good for my teams. Last week, not so much. Uh, I think that this season, more than any other season, uh, we've been seeing a lot of players missing time on a week to week basis as opposed to game. So that's longer outlooks as far as players missing time. But that's not been so bad because at the end of the day, with all of these bigger named players, you know, skipping time, there have been a lot of serviceable replacements. Like, for example, take the Hawks. You've got AJ Griffin, who has been playing pretty well in the absence of DeAndre Hunter. He's obviously somebody that we've been recommending um, as a pickup in even in 12 team leagues. I know he can be a bit frustrating if you're talking about the talent that you're looking at in a 12 team league, but Griffin can, deliver as far as, the threes and steals that you're looking for. Um, I want to talk about somebody who's kind of frustrating lately, and that's been Sadiq Bey. He's fallen out of the standard league picture, and thanks to his crappy field goal and inconsistent production, he's been bumped to the bench over at Detroit. But tonight, on Sunday, he was pretty good. He scored 14 points, had four threes, had two steals. That's the kind of thing you want to see from Sadiq. Get those threes, get those steals, provide that 3 and D stat set. Uh, I've also noticed that in my weekly column, the Deep League Dredge, I've been highlighting a lot of 3 and D guys. And that seems to be the trend because, like in real life NBA, they're a um, important commodity as far as the modern game is concerned. And with that, teams have been utilizing a lot of these, uh, how should I say, able or capable defenders who also can shoot the three. And these are guys who, if you're lucky enough to find some of these guys who shoot well from the field, then you have a solid pickup overall. Uh, Now, let's do a quick review of some of the guys that Ethan and I have mentioned over the past couple of weeks, see how they're doing. Uh, I want to start with my favorite pickups and drops, as the cases may be, and that's excuse me, the Wizards' Denny Avdia and Corey Kispert. Um, for a time there, it looked like you know Avdia was the guy. Kispert was not delivering, so he was bumped to the bench. Um, then later on, Denny started to suck, and Kispert started hitting those threes. So you can imagine Kispert was the pickup for three streaming. But lately, after the injury to Bradley Beal, who I believe is out more or less a week, but he's a slow healer, so he could, that could extend. We're seeing Avdia play better again, and Kispert fading. It's frustrating, I know, but what seems to be the trend here, with at least how the Wizards are utilizing both of these wings, is that only one of them can seem to be productive at any given time. You hardly ever see a game or a box score where you're happy with the production of Denny and Corey at the same time. So, given the recent trend, we're back on the Denny train. Goodbye, Corey. But that's something that could quickly change. All right. As far as pickups and since I really wanted to shift to the Wizards, obviously we got to give Jordan Goodwin some props. Um, I'm just mentioning him here because he's been amazing this week. I assume if you're a competitive manager in a competitive league, he's already rostered and been picked up. With the first time that he registered that first career high of 5 steals. He followed that up, by the way, with a new career high of 6 steals. So I was able to pick up one share of Goodwin. Um, Again, he is somebody who shined in the past, but shined again recently, and again in the absence of Beal, and that's what we're looking at. He's definitely somebody to look at only in the short term. He's gonna fall off when Beal returns. You can expect that. Uh, so there. Um, Another guy I picked up, but he's in a very deep league. I think it's in an 18 teamer, I believe, but he could be streamed later on um, in shallower formats. And that's Yura Watanabe. He recently returned from, I think, a 10-game absence with his, I think it was a calf strain or something like that. But anyway, he's been gone quite a while. But prior to his injury, you don't forget that he was actually leading the league in 3-point shooting percentage. Um, Now that he's returning, he has to contend with the likes of Joe Harris, who has been playing well and should be rostered. Um, Royce O'Neal, who's faded a bit. Then there's also Seth Curry, who's been, oh, don't get me started on Seth. Excuse me. Seth has been a headache for me. I picked him up once or twice, and every time I picked him up, he seems to fall in off. To time his games, he'll explode for a 20-point game, which is amazing, obviously, which makes you entices GMs to pick him up. And but he follows it up with like either a no show or a dud game. Um, that what that tells me is that I don't think Seth Curry is 100% healthy yet. On the bright side, I can see that the Nets have been giving him a solid run of 30-minute games, which is a good sign that they're giving him a heavy enough load, even while Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons are playing. Um, Obviously, I'd like to address that weird ass game by the Nets where they sat like almost everybody. Well, like no, but they're like 8 best players. Yeah, let's put it at that. Pretty much everyone who did well there, Cam Thomas included, should not be added. That was like a freak outlying game, in the sense that you're not gonna see the Nets sit that many players that again, very unlikely. And even if they do, that's not something you can predict. That situation just came about out of nowhere. It was a surprise to us all. I was only able to take advantage of Yura because I picked him up as sort of gamble, for some kind of bounce back and a little boost in threes. But even he didn't play too well in his return, but which is fine because we're talking about some rust that that 10 games off is 10 games off. Uh, I think I would definitely give him a look even as a streamer. All right. Um, I think that the threes will be there, and the good thing about Yuta is that he doesn't shoot poorly from the field, and he was having the best shooting season of his career up until that injury, and so there. All right, so all right, we have our first question of the evening, and let's get to that before I continue with the show. All right. Would you trade away Bobby Portis? This is from Rocklaren Bobby Portis for Keldon in 9 cat. Portis has been consistent double double in points rebounds without Middleton, but his minutes took a big dip in the 3 games. Middleton was back, sell high. Huh. All right. This is what I'm going to tell you. If you're after sheer points, yes, you can do that because Bobby's points will take a hit ROS. But mind you, Middleton went down tonight with, I believe, a left ankle sprain. So that's something that you might want to hold off. Yeah, yeah. So again, Middleton is unfortunately already getting played with injuries. So, but hear me out. If you're looking for pure fantasy value over the course of the season, I mean, we're just looking at end of season value here. Well, after all is said and done, Bobby Portis will end up finishing with a higher ranking than Keldon. That's my take. I think that sorry, cough. Like I said, I'm still recovering. Um, uh, his role is very important, and even with Brook Lopez playing like a 23-year-old improved version of himself, because when he was 23, he wasn't really shooting threes. But anyway, even with that situation, Portis is solid. He's their monster sixth man. Like you said, the double doubles. He's a nightly double double threat, whether or not he actually gets there. Solid field goal, solid free throw. The thing about Portis and why he's ranked so high, even if he doesn't get as many minutes as he used to, is that he doesn't have any drawbacks. He doesn't really hurt you anywhere. So I like Portis. Um, I'm actually, you know, eyeing Bobby in one of my leagues, and I'd like to have him. I only have him Ross. I only have one share of Bobby, but I'd like more, and I can flip the script, as you'd say, and say that, hey, he's trending down. I'd like to buy him at a discount and not pay full price, right? So that's what I do. Uh, I am willing to sell high on Bobby, but not Keldon. If Keldon is the offer on the table and you need the points, fine, go for it. Because Keldon's going to give you all those points, decent field goal, threes, etc. But that's it. He's a hollow, uh, he's a vanilla points producer. You know what I mean? And he's not going to give you even Bobby will be able to chip in a steal or a block every so often. You're not going to see that kind of stuff from KJ. All right, so sell high if you want, but I'd prefer someone else instead of Keldon. But if he's the only one at the table and you really need the consistent points, yeah, okay. But I give that approval with a bit of hesitation. All right. So yeah, thank you for your question, and I hope I was able to address it. And if anyone else has any further questions later or any follow-ups after I answer your questions, feel free to just post it here on the chat. All right, now continuing on with our waiver wire show. Uh, Man, Larry Nance, he just ah, I slapped myself on the forehead the other day. I play in too many leagues. You all know that. I saw him actually picked up uh, in one of my 7 cat league, and that was a bummer. Um, I'm in a league where I am in desperate need of a big man. I only have Rudy Gobert, Bol Bol, and technically Giannis as my core of big men, and somebody like Nance would have been just perfect to round out those defensive stats, not necessarily providing any points because I've got points up the wazoo. I am loaded with guards. I have Garland, McCollum. eh, I also have Dinwiddie, who quite frankly is has been quite the surprise. Um, I did expect he was just like a desperation best player available at the time of the draft when I picked him up in seven cat. Seven cat, by the way, is no shooting percentages. So I go, what the heck? Even if Dinwiddie's field goal sucks, he should hopefully give me a boost in points, assists, and this and that with Brunson out. So I took a gamble, and lo and behold, thanks to his increase in threes, he's been quite the stud. I've been raking in. I've been crushing steals with Marcus Smart and DeAnthony Melton in that league. So um, it's a roto style format. So I'm desperately in need of blocks. Okay. Moving on. I think. All right. Uh, I want to address Mo Wagner, and he's German, so I guess it's Wagner. Moritz Wagner. He over the past week, which is like 3 games, he's top 30 player. So I'm pretty sure he's been streamed by you guys, and you're wondering how long should you hold. And I think I think that for as long as Wendell Carter Jr. is out, Mo Wagner is, still worth a hold, though you can stream him on and off. Um, and okay, wait. I will quickly jump to a topic related to Wagner. Would you drop Mo Wagner for Avdia 12 team? Yeah, yep. This is more for a long term outlook kind of situation. Even though Denny has been frustrating, as I mentioned at the start of the show, Brooks, he the good games that he delivered early on were very encouraging. We didn't really see that kind of thing from him early on in his career, but I think that he's really learned his role. It's just that he cannot deliver on a consistent basis yet. But it's been there. He's popped. He's dropped a few games where he's delivered across the board. And at some point, when Carter Jr. does return, Wagner is just gonna fall off. I mean, just Mo Bamba exploding tonight with a nice, beautiful sight to see line. I mean, let me just take half a second to talk about my frustrations with Bamba. I love the Bamba. I was really hoping Bamba would still carry over with value this season, but the arrival and emergence of Ball just threw a bucket of cold water over that flame. But speaking of flame, I'm holding a candle. Still have 2 Bamba shares, 30 deep, and one important 16 team league. I still I'm I'm stubborn. When I like a guy, I like a guy. I mean, I'm the schmuck who's still holding on to Eason, right? I'm that schmuck. I'm that guy. All right. So thank you for that question. I will get back to the follow up, and I will get to the next questions as soon as I can. Thanks for that take on the Portis. Follow up to my Portis KJ question. What do you think would be the appropriate and not insulting top 70? No, top 50 is a bit out of the question. Top 70, top 60 is still a fair range of value to look for um, in exchange. Yeah, for Bobby, and he's still playing well, and he's gonna get that nice little boost again, especially now that Middleton might miss a game here and there. I mean, he was never really fully 100%, I would say, based on the numbers I was looking at since he returned. It wasn't really that great. So we're going to see a nice little boost from Bobby again. Top 50 is a bit too ambitious. That would probably be, tiptoeing in the insulting line a bit. So, yeah, let's not go there. Top 60, top 70. Um, go ahead. I think that's a good move. Moving on. All right, next question. Would you take Kawhi or Shingun in a points league. Ouch. Yeah. Uh, right now, Kawhi is finally playing better. Uh, to me, the shift in what was Kawhi at the start of the season and last week and change since he returned from the ankle sprain is that the minutes. The minutes are there. He's been playing like 30 plus 33 minutes and whatnot. The fact that he had the confidence and the ability to hit a game winning shot says a lot. Says a lot. When you have the confidence to knock down a game winner, that means you're also more comfortable with your body. You're trusting your body more. Is the kind of psychology I'm looking at. When you're coming back from an ACL injury, sometimes there's a mental barrier that prevents you from jumping like you used to or moving laterally like you used to, and a lot of it can sometimes be the mental side of it. So Kawhi, yeah, definitely. But would I take Shingun over Kawhi? Uh, okay, uh, head to head. If it's a head to head points league, um, depending on the rest of your team. In a vacuum, I'd probably go Shingun because I don't expect him to miss back to backs or load management days, etc., etc. Plus, the Clippers have like a really terrible fantasy basketball schedule, so there's that. But on the upside, Kawhi obviously has the much higher ceiling here, right? And yeah, okay. So next question. Thank you, by the way, for these questions. I love it. I was worried that I was going solo tonight because um, it's hard to carry on a conversation by yourself. And answering questions is like talking to you guys, and it's almost as good as having Ethan here beside me. Uh, ROS faults or Wall faults. Uh, I love John Wall heading in. Pre-draft. I had one share, dropped him. I picked him up, still holding him there because I literally have no one else in that one league where I'm holding Wall. But even when Jalen Suggs returns, Fultz is the guy. Uh, Cole Anthony, value wise, is his biggest threat because they play a similar game in the sense that they're both the passing guards. Suggs is more of the combo guard here, but I like Fultz. He's not going to give you threes, but the assists, steals, good field goal are very hard to find from a guard kit. And if that's the kind of stat set you're looking for, Fultz will be the answer to your problems and overall value. And also, assuming he avoids injury, obviously, the consistency of games you know, will outdo any of the bigger games that Wall will be able to muster. All right, thanks. And next question. All right, I have Tim Hardaway Jr. and Jaden McDaniels in 9 cat roto. They're my worst players. Would you drop these for Terry Eason? Kyle Anderson. All right. Uh, yeah, Kyle Anderson should be rostered everywhere right now. Uh, I I like I like Kyle Anderson a lot, and um, Terry Eason. Okay, as much as I said that I'm an egg-headed fan of Eason and just can't get over his summer league uh, stat lines, I I can't recommend him in a league that shallow. All right, uh, I think that Eason is in shallower leagues. Eason is good as a steals streamer, but caveat there, Eason is somebody I'm looking at as a second half breakout star. All right. Um, Hardaway threes, no question. It's more about needs right now. If you're talking about the thing about Hardaway is he's gonna give you the points and stuff. Jaden, you can get rid of him definitely. Sorry. Oh, that's Jaden, not Jalen. All right. Yeah. No, I'd keep Jaden. I have Jaden the highest. I'd like easy answer here is drop Tim Hardaway Jr., pick up Kyle Anderson. then drop Kyle Anderson when Cat returns. That's it. Okay, keep Jaden, trust Jaden. He's uh with all due respect to Rudy Gobert, Jaden might actually be the the Wolves' best defender. All right. So I'll leave it at that. Okay. I hope I answered your question. Okay. All right. Shallower league. 11 team roto. I have Trey, Duran, Nance on the wire. Should I make the ad and drop either of them? Roto. I dropped Duran for Nance, but you need the rebounds, and Duran is your. Ah, this is a tough one. All right. Duran's obviously going to be the guy who's going to be give you the rebounds, but steals and blocks sprinkling that request. Whoa, that's that's Nance right there. Okay. Whoa. Keep Trey off the top. Don't mess with him. He's a great 3 and D guy. He's emerging. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. Um, so there. Uh, Whoa, it's a tough one. Okay, I think Nance is going to take a hit when Brandon Ingram eventually returns, and that's going to be an issue. Duran, on the other hand, he was just promoted to the starting lineup. But he's still, like half my age, or uh, half. He's too young and raw. He's just a rebounding specialist right now. So Way, do the math. You're talking about Roto. Do the math. Um, Make projections. I know if some people don't want to go into that and they just want quick answers. But when it comes to Roto, as opposed to head to head, you really need to do the math, make projections. How many games, given roughly the double digit rebounding that Duran is giving, you can count on that, assuming he stays as the starting big man for Detroit. So yeah, but Nance definitely, man, Nance has been playing out of his mind um, lately, so I don't mind that move. That said, you might see Duran again because in a Roto League he has a bit of downside appeal. Oh, sorry, downside. Not what the hell is downside appeal? There's no such thing. Anyway, he's a bit of downside because of his free throw. But Nance is the stud who doesn't really hurt you anywhere and does a lot of those steals and blocks that you're looking for, while also providing rebounds, though not as much as Duran. Okay. Um, Duran will not be able to give you the field goal you're looking for because he doesn't score enough right now. Okay. So I hope that was I was able to answer that. Next question. Oh, same guy. All right. Where do you see Bol Bol ROS? Pretty much where he's at. I don't think that the Magic are dumb enough to put him on ice or keep him in the closet or on the bench. He's just too good. He is sadly, um, doing a better job at defending than Bamba is at and doing whatever Bamba used to do when Bamba broke out last season, and that's why it's an either or. Well, good thing for the Magic, they have both guys. So, and even though they've shared the floor a few times, it's really Bobo who's been the stud there. Now, if you look at tonight's game, what Bamba again, sorry, you know my love for Bamba, what Bamba brings to the table is a more refined outside shot. And if you're looking to spread the floor, Ball doesn't exactly do that. You know, so I think Ball is a safe play somewhere in, clearly in the early top 100s. Yeah, maybe top 60 ish, depending on uh, the impact of Wendell Carter Jr. when he returns. I want to see more of that. Wendell, the sample sizes of the good Ball games came and popped when WCJ went down, so there's that. Okay. All right. Next one. Sorry for the cough. I'm doing best. All right. Thoughts on Oladipo. Whew. I think he's gonna ramp up eventually. Depending on how patient you can be, he's gonna play better and better as the weeks go by. We could see a similar version of Depot as the second half of last season, but I'm not too sure. I thought that he came in was coming in healthy for the season, but he didn't. So there's that. The ramping up might take longer than usual. Personally, in my spectrum of players, I would generally peg Depot as more of a slower healer. So I'm not too excited about rolling the dice on him. Obviously, he's just limited to being a deep league guy. He's not going to see 12 team value anytime soon. If it's going to come, it might come best case scenario January. And that's really best case scenario, right? Especially with the dynamic shifting this season, Tyler Hero moving to the starting unit. The rotation's a bit different. You've now got Caleb Martin starting as well. The the Heat are really different compared to the time that Depot had to step up in the playoffs. So um, I'm not as excited as I was with him prior to the draft. Who gets hit more, Trey or Nance? Yeah, it's gonna be tough. What you see, it really depends on who's having the worst time. You're gonna have um, Valanciunas playing an off game here and there, and that's when Nance seems to be spiking. Valanciunas obviously has fallen off this season, and that's been disappointing. But who knows? The focus hasn't been on Zion, plain and simple, and uh, the the play, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm looking at the Pelicans' style, is that you want to surround Zion with as many 3-point shooters as possible so that when the defenses, okay, off the top, just think about it. You cannot have single coverage on Zion. He's just too powerful, too athletic. So what happens is opposing teams are forced to double team him. And when Zion is double teamed, and assuming he doesn't finish, he's going to need somebody to kick out to. So right now, you've got McCollum as an option for a kick out. Obviously, JV's Valanciunas' 3-point shooting numbers have fallen. I still like Trey as somebody to really be that pure 3 and D guy. The threat to Trey is not so much Ingram as it is Herbert Jones, who is a defensive guy who's just not as prolific a 3-point shooter as Murphy. But he is arguably the better defender. No, not argue. He's definitely the better defender, but he's obviously the worst 3-point shooter. So both of them are going to take a hit regardless as the Pelicans get healthier. So there's that. To follow up on Kawhi Shingun, I am first in my league, so it'd be better to sit on Kawhi. Yeah. If you're comfortably sitting in first, you can afford to ride out these rockier, times where Kawhi is erratically productive now. He was non-productive at the start, right? But now he's on and off productive. So when he's steadily productive and simply being not productive when he's missing games, that's fine. As long there got to a point, even back when he was with the Spurs or even in the Raptors or whatever, he's always missed time. He was literally, it's like they invented load management for Kawhi. Remember, Um, so even if he misses time back in the day, as long as he's delivering top 10 value per game basis, it's fine. Will he, produce top 10 value per game basis this season? I doubt it. I doubt it. But I'd be happy if he could prove me wrong. He's been looking good so far, and the trend is positive. So there's that. So yeah, sit on Kawhi. Yeah, I mean, because you can afford to. Better IR stash Gordon Hayward, L Ball. I assume that that's Lonzo, not Lamelo, because that Lamelo just doesn't make any sense. Ricky Rubio, standard 9 cat, 12 team. Eh, yeah. None of them have any good timelines. Probably Hayward. I don't see Lonzo Ball coming back with any value, foreseeable value this season. So Rubio, we're talking about ACL, and he's still far off, and he's off the bench and stuff. I don't even think that he will be a a solid and reliable guy in 12 teamers, even when he comes back. So Hayward, I say that with hesitation because I'm uh I'm on the I'm on the side of the fence that says don't touch Hayward. Okay, all right. Sorry, another waiver wire priority question. If you can only keep 3 players, which would you drop? Fultz, Keegan, Murray, Slomo, Jaden, or Eason? I'm punting assists. I'm second at the moment. Keep 3. Okay, I'll just keep 3. Oh, ouch. Fultz. Keep Fultz. Murray. He's my favorite player right now. Hands down. I mean, some people love Luca, and I get that. I love Keegan. Keegan's my guy. I have Keegan everywhere, except where he was sniped. But everywhere that I could reach for him this season, I'm a. I have so many Keegan shares. If he was a company, I'd be rich. Um, Slow mo, it's really tough because all right, the Jaden slow mo is actually producing better in the short term in a small sample size over Jaden lately. Overall, I still prefer Jaden as the more guaranteed 1-1-1 threat. Uh, but slow mo is going to give you the rebounds, assists on a needs basis. If you need the threes, keep Jaden. Slobo is gonna do okay. My point is Slobo is gonna fall when Cat returns, which is gonna be like maybe just before or after All Star break at this rate. Um, so I like Slobo. If you need the bump, I see in your follow up that you're in 9 cat roto. Um, both Jaden and Slomo are great roto guys. So yeah. So I'd drop Eason. I not have Eason in 12 team. Ugh, so bad, so bad. Uh, yeah. You know what? If your guards are okay, you could forgo Fultz. I think Slomo is performing better than Fultz right now. If you want to go with a funkier play, long term though, Fultz is just if you can live with the drop off of Slomo, keep Slomo. If you can't, and you're worried about your options on the wire when Cat returns, then he's your drop. There, finally got the. I was able to get my train of thought clear there. I hope that was able to clarify that. Ooh, good question. Who's better for this week, Grant Williams or Poku? Given that Al Horford and Robert Williams III are out already for Monday, Grant Williams is supposed to be the better play roto wise. Um, that said, Grant has been just to share. he was dropped. He was dropped in a 12-team league, which is odd because that's 12 team. Because then I go, why was he dropped? Then like I said, I can't pay attention to all my leagues. I had to dig and all right. Grant Williams is not playing so well. No wonder I haven't been blurbing too much on Grant Williams. He's been meh. Poku came up with that nice game, so roll with a hot guy. Go with Poku. Um, I think that's the plan. All right. Next question. Thank you, by the way, again for all of these questions. I appreciate it, and I am enjoying the heck out of this experience. Normally, we have Ethan back here with this dashboard thingy, and running the show, hosting, and me just chiming in with my 2 cents. But thank you. I appreciate all of this. What's the outlook for PJ Nine Cats Roto capped 11-team league? He's been up and down. You think he can be top 75? Yes, I think he can be top 75. Uh, but but if your team is already struggling with field goal, and that's been his biggest issue, as you may have noticed, um, as an expert, I mainly run on impressions. Um, Looking through box scores, reading through Twitter, etc., reading news, writing news. Um, 0 for 13 just really bugs the crap out of me, man. Uh, it's he's gonna really need to play very well and be a 1-1-1 guy or a 2-1-1 guy in order for him to compensate for his poorer than ideal field goal and lower than ideal rebounding. So uh, he might not hit your top 75 goal. He should on paper, given the situation of the Hornets. Okay. Thank you, Jack. Oh, Jack again. Same 11 teams, Roto game cap, 9 cats. Should I trade away CP3 for Butler? No. No. I know CP3's been frustrating, um, but he's going to give you more assists. Butler, overall, I think is going to suffer on and off with missed games. If you can afford the missed games, yeah, sure. I'd make the deal if it's a standing offer. I think that scoring CP3's drop this season is going to be huge. That 20-point game aside the other night um, is just an outlier. I think the numbers are going to go down for CP3 as far as scoring is concerned. So that's going to be an issue. He's going to be mainly a assists and steals guy. Um, with low turnovers, good field goal in general, ROS, though he hasn't been the kind of CP3 I was hoping to see. I have 2 shares in 2 very important leagues. I I have him in my $150 8-cat roto against Brewski, and he's been frustrating. Okay. Uh, um, all right. So you just replied, and I'll put that on the screen. My point for this trade for field goal and point, which I'm way behind. I got Lillard and DeJounte Murray on my team, thinking you got assists covered. Yeah. Uh, okay. Thank you for clarifying, Jack. Based on that specific need for field goal and points, um, make that deal. Yes, you have my blessing. Mind you, uh, I am somebody who had Jimmy Butler on his do not draft list coming into this season, and you already see why the missed games. Like I said, I am in only one Roto league this year. Most of them are head to head. Most of them don't have IR, which is a bummer. So obviously, Butler was persona non grata on my fantasy teams because of this penchant of his to miss games and whatnot. But based on your needs and based on both Butler and CP3 being now equally injury prone, assuming you want to lump them into that same category of injury risk based on those needs, yeah, go for Butler. Definitely. Right? Uh, that's the last question so far on the queue. And uh, with that, I'm going to get back to recommendations. Um, I don't know if you guys have noticed Walker Kessler lately. He's been serviceable. Obviously, he's probably on a lot of teams for just his blocks. Uh, I had one share. I had one share of Kessler. I had to drop him when I was ravaged with injuries, and part of me feels really bad about that. But uh, over this last week, over the last 3 games, he's been like a top 40 guy, which is sick, right? Santi Aldama. Um, I dropped my 2 shares of Santi, uh, and that was when obviously JJJ returned. But he is actually serviceable and is somebody I recommend as a streaming option. No, he's no longer hold. Both he and Brandon Clark, by the way. Um, I was able to pick up Brandon Clark. Unfortunately, I opted to stream him out in thinking that I needed threes. Now I feel bad because he was picked up. This is in a 16 team league. I picked up him in another. And in that league where I picked him up, I'm winning 7-2 this week. Yeah, hey. So I like the Brandon Clark trend. I think that he should be rostered um, more as a keep based on recent production over Santi. But Santi is definitely somebody I would consider streaming. Okay. Uh, just to share, um, just in case somebody here has been frustrated, maybe, with our friend from the north and reigning rookie of the year, Scotty Barnes, who like totally was nasty tonight. Foul trouble. He was off the top a team worst, minus 16. Scored 11 points on 3 of 13 field goal. Awful. 0 assists, 2 rebounds. Um, Interestingly enough, somebody just posted in our group chat um, earlier this morning, my time here in the Philippines. Scotty Barnes up, looking for a scorer. A trade happened just like that. Somebody offered him Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole. Okay, um, that was an interesting trade right there because Scotty Barnes is somebody I still like. I think that um, okay. First of all, I have no answer as to why he's not performing like he did in his rookie season, but I'm gonna trust what I saw from him in his rookie season, and I think that he's still going to be able to deliver uh, value that's top 75, maybe top 80. Right now, he's outside of the top 100. Obviously, with games like this uh, in his history. So, yeah. Uh, we have another question. Same league. Should I pick up Slow Mo or Nance for O'Neal? Or stay put with O'Neal? Uh, I'd pick up Slow Mo for now. I think that Cat will be out longer than any of the Pelicans. So the return of those guys will affect Nance's value. So Slomo is your guy. Both Slomo and Nance are multi-cat producers, and that's obviously great. And I think that both guys are worthy of pickups. So yeah. All right. Uh, Thank you. Yeah. So we're winding down now. We probably have like 10 minutes left in change. Uh, Discussing some guys. I've touched on the Wizards guys. All right. Uh, Here's somebody who was who tried. Okay, I got a recent trade offer. Somebody offered me Patrick Williams for my uh, Jalen Smith. Both Patrick Williams and Jalen Smith are what you would call problematic players right now. Uh, they're both very inconsistent, but both have also shown um, that they can pop, they can deliver. Uh, so I think that my declining Patrick Williams says a lot, considering how few minutes um, Jalen Smith has been playing as of late. My decision for that, all right, is that I've been looking at the per game numbers of Jalen Smith, and they're still pretty darn good. Okay, so I would say I'm again I'm a stubborn. Is I can be stubborn at times. I'm not giving up on Jalen Smith. I'm I think I'm still hopeful for some reason. All right, you probably heard or read Brewski talk about Isaiah Jackson and how Ijax's per game numbers are just so good. It's really tough to drop him. I unfortunately had to drop him in one eight cat head to head. But I think Jalen Smith has the leg up, at least because he's a starter. Even though O'Shea Brissett has been stealing some of those minutes, it's been frustrating. I know. I really love the permanent numbers. I think the Jalen Smith that broke out in the second half last season is still there in that package, and he'll appear somewhat later. All right, wait, O'Neal. Yeah, sorry, you can only choose one. Um, yeah, just pick slow mo. Uh, I think slow mo is gonna be still pretty good. All right. And next, just want to say you're doing an amazing job. Your answers are very well thought of and logical. Thanks, Eric. Oh, hey, you're welcome. And I'm happy to do this. I appreciate your questions just the same, and your questions have been pretty darn good actually. And I'm trying my best to bring up as many uh, players who have uh, issues, who aren't necessarily must pickups, but are frustrating. Like I said, my issue with with Eason is that um, it's just a matter of stubbornness. He should actually be dropped, and was I've seen dropped in a few leagues. I'm just being stubborn. But do as I say, not as I do. Kind of perspective. Yes, if you're in a shallow league, you should drop Eason. I'm not, because I'm like that, and like I said, stubborn. All right. Uh, what kind of value do you think D'Lo holds? Aim for someone like KL. KL. Who? Sorry. Oren, you're gonna have to tell me who KL is. I'm running a blank right now. uh Anyway, I'll address the first half of your question. And I think that D'Lo is having a great breakout situation right now in the absence of Cap. I think that his maturity is is um, is a big deal. He's finally matured a bit, and he's really playing well, playing out of his mind. Um, oh, Kawhi Leonard. All right, thank you for addressing it. Yeah, uh, it's too high. All right. Okay. I think that Kawhi is a bit too high. So that said, I think this is going to be a great season for D'Lo, assuming he can keep this up. Uh, I'm okay. It's been too small a sample size of games to assess perfectly the new look Wolves post cat injury. As you can see already, Rudy Gobert has shifted and taken a more assertive role in the offensive flow of the game for the Wolves. That's a big change. And Slomo has been producing stats out of his mind, doing literally everything because he's become the Swiss knife guy. No longer Jaden McDaniels because he's more of a 1-1-1 guy and a different kind of glue guy. Uh, but given how the Wolves have been playing as of late, I just have nothing but respect for Russell. I the in transparency haven't had respect for Russell in the past. I've uh, I've had a nasty habit of not wanting to punt field goal in recent seasons. So he's been off my radar. But as I've been blurbing, uh, D'Angelo Russell, he's been pretty good. I mean, those crazy stat lines, the high scoring numbers, they're there. Assists, threes in bunches, steals. The It's a pretty complete package, right? Um, so uh, yeah, I think he's going to be great. Um, but that said, if I could sell high and get somebody with a potentially higher upside than D'Lo, I would definitely make that move. So, yeah. Uh, Last call for questions. I'm already getting messages. Uh, Steve Vidovich has been covering for me. I'm uh, normally getting a lot of um, what you call this work done right now as editor and blurbing, but Steve has been kind enough to cover for me. He just left. So last call for questions before I wrap up tonight. Oh well, okay. Drop a bomb. Why don't you? All right. KAD or Joel? Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna stick to my guns. I had Joel above KD. Personally, I know it differs from the B150 and what Brewski's outlook is. So I'm gonna give qualify my and just personal um, that I like Joel better. Uh, Even though KD has the better assists, Joel will give me the rebounds and blocks, which are not always part of KD's kit. Uh, Pure value, I also think that uh, yeah, all right. You're asking me to choose between two great players this season, and to be honest, what's going to happen, whether I'm right or wrong, I'm going to be right by a small margin, or I'm going to be wrong by a small margin. And the bottom line here, the margin of error or the margin of difference between the value of KD and Joel Embiid won't be too high. Is the take I'm going with, because at the end of the day, they're just both good. Their stats have been great. I mean, the monster we know as Embiid just dropped the 50 bagger tonight, and that's just, if you're in head to head, that's just money right there. He closed out the week and like won your weekly matchup for you, right? So, um, so Joel, but slightly, and room for error. Okay, thank you. Um, and with that, I'd like to take the last remaining seconds of the show to thank everyone who came and asked questions, watched, whether you were lurking or whatever. it's been years since I've run a solo show like this, and I think it would have been far more difficult for me if you guys weren't around and asking these questions. It's really hard to just think on my feet and just talk about XYZ player A, doing ABC and do that. So thank you for dropping by. I appreciate you all, and follow me on Twitter. If you have any questions, just holler at me. Even though this show is a weekly show, if you need advice, just feel free to reach out to me there. And with that, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the solo show. I know we miss Ethan. Hopefully, next show, which might not be on Sundays, depending on Ethan's schedule, we're gonna have him back. Then we can be that, you know, the Scotty MJ duo that we normally are. All right. Thank you and goodbye.